Have you ever felt trapped in a crowd of tourists wondering if you've wasted your precious vacation time? Well, in this episode, you'll discover the Hawaii tourist traps travelers regret the most. Plus, you'll get the secret spots locals don't want you to miss. We'll uncover one big mistake almost everyone makes when planning their dream trip to Hawaii and how you can avoid it for a truly unforgettable adventure. Let's go. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best, the podcast helping travelers plan an unforgettable Hawaii vacation with insider tips and featuring local voices. I'm Brian Murphy, a husband, dad of 3, and certified Hawaii destination expert. Each week, I share local insights, travel tips, and up-to-date news, sometimes with guests across Hawaii and sometimes solo, all to help you plan your next trip to Hawaii. Hawaii draws millions of visitors every year. I think we all kind of know that. And really the marketing promises paradise at every turn and every island and every beach. But if you stick to the typical tourist trail, it's easy to end up surrounded by crowds and spending more time and more money waiting in line than actually experiencing Hawaii. So if you want to come home with real stories, unforgettable memories, not just the same photos as everyone else, this is the episode for you. Let me ask you, have you ever visited one of those, must-see attraction spots and only to realize halfway through that you would rather be anywhere else? Well, honestly, that was me at the Dole Plantation maze. And I'll get in a little bit more about the Dole Plantation later on, but my experience at the maze, this is one of the spots that I kind of regret. We were with our kids and thinking it'd be fun. That first, as you get into it, you're filled with adrenaline and dopamine. This is going to be awesome. It's going to be a fun family extravaganza. Something different, something you can't do at home. But after about an hour of wandering around the maze, one of the largest mazes in the world, actually, and listening to our kids debate on which way to turn in the sun, because there's no shade in there, the sun beating down, I just was done. I just wanted to cut my way back through the maze. We weren't having any fun at all. Felt like we wasted our money, we wasted our time, and it just felt stuck. Like we just needed to get this over with. Obviously, the excitement was gone for us, and it was replaced by that sinking feeling of that we wasted our time, we wasted our money. Now, if you've ever had a moment like that where the hype just doesn't match reality, you know how frustrating it can be. That experience kind of sparked a thought, there's got to be a better way to really experience Hawaii beyond some of these tourist traps and away from the crowds and really to support the local community. And this episode is really all about that. I'm going to help you skip some of these letdowns. Some of them, you might want to do once, and some of them you might want to definitely avoid altogether. And depending on the type of year, we're going to break all of that down. We're going to unpack this island by island. So let's go ahead and get started with the island of Oahu. A couple tourist spots right off the bat to consider avoiding would be Waikiki Beach in International Marketplace. And obviously, Waikiki Beach is really the most recognized beach in all of Hawaii, and it's usually packed. The sand is real, well, sort of. A lot of it gets barged in from other islands and other areas, but I digress. There's lots of crowds, there's high-rise hotels, and there's busy sidewalks, but it does have that iconic Diamond Head view. It's probably worth doing maybe once, but if you don't do it at all, you're really not missing out on a lot. And the other one is the International Marketplace. And it was once an eclectic collection of local vendors and stalls. And it's now just a modern shopping mall filled with big brands you can find anywhere back at home. So if you're hoping for a peaceful beach day or, one-of-a-kind shopping experiences, these spots really fall short. What's funny is I'm a Saved by the Bell fan. I grew up on that show. They have this movie about the crew going to Hawaii for summer vacation, and there's a shot of Lisa going to shop at the International Marketplace. This is like mid-90s, and it's got that cool, just iconic International Marketplace feel with the banyan tree and the outdoor vendors and really that iconic view of the old international marketplace. It's really a far cry today of what it used to be, even back in the 90s and obviously before the 90s as well. So what do you do instead? If you want a quieter beach, one that a lot of locals go to and there's plenty of space, plenty of parking, I definitely would recommend Waimanalo Beach Park. It's on the east side. It has that iconic, Lanikai views, but without all the crowd and without all the parking issues. For shopping and local finds, you want to head to the Aloha Stadium swap meet, or also on the east side of Oahu, there is the Lokahi Kailua Market, which happens every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And also throughout the year, you can find events like the Made in Hawaii Festival, which happens on the island of Oahu. The other things to avoid on Oahu would be, obviously, I already mentioned it, but the Dole Plantation, it's advertised as fun, family-friendly destination, but for most visitors, they find it crowded, commercial. The maize and the famous pineapple ice cream are really the main draw. They also have a train ride there. Our kids used to love that when they were younger, but we've kind of have stopped doing that and kind of use the Dole Plantation as a pit stop to go to the restroom on our way up to the North Shore. Also, the other thing is resort luau's. Resort luau's promise an introduction to Hawaiian culture, but they're usually staged for large groups. They're expensive and kind of light on real tradition. Now, most of them are, but some aren't. This is generalizing. For a better taste of Hawaii's agricultural sites, maybe visit a spot like Kahuku Farms or check out, local farmers markets. You'll support local growers and get more of a personal look at island life. If you want more of a Hawaiian cultural experience, look for community-run luau's, or there's this luau called Toa Luau on the North Shore of Oahu in Waimea Valley that I definitely would highly recommend looking into. The other thing in general, but especially on Oahu, especially in Waikiki, there are a lot of familiar chain restaurants. They're easy and predictable, but eating at them means missing Hawaii's unique food culture. So to be honest, are you traveling all the way to Hawaii for the same burger that you can get back at home at, Cheesecake Factory? Instead, try a local plate lunch spot, a poke bowl stand or food truck near the beach. Places like Helena's Hawaiian Food and Rainbow Drive-In are known for serving the dishes locals actually love and eat. Local food is really one of the best ways to connect with real Hawaii. All right, so let's talk about Maui and some of the tourist traps to potentially avoid there. The first one is probably controversial. It's the road to Hana. It always ranks on, the must-do list when visiting Maui. And the reality is that drive is long, it's windy, and often packed with tons of rental cars and tour vans. Many travelers report spending more time in traffic and searching for parking than actually enjoying the sights along the way. Tons of people mention stops can feel rushed, and by the time you actually reach Hana, it's common to be too tired to appreciate what's actually there. If you're set on doing a drive, consider staying overnight in Hana. This can take the pressure off and allow you to see the less crowded waterfalls and beaches at your own pace. And also, it might be worth looking into a reputable tour company so you're not having to feel rushed doing the driving, finding the parking. You can at least take that pressure off of you. Another spot is Molokini Crater. It's another one of those popular recommendations for snorkeling in all of Hawaii, but especially on Maui. It's advertised as a marine sanctuary, but in practice, it's a busy spot with several tour boats arriving around the same time throughout the day. Many people have mentioned that the site can feel crowded and the coral and fish are sometimes underwhelming compared to less trafficked areas. One review I thought was interesting, someone wrote, was too many boats, too many people in the water, and not as much marine life as expected. Now, I've never personally have done Molokini Crater. If you want to avoid the crowds and still enjoy Maui scenery, there are better options out there. Waihehe Ridge Trail is often described as one of the best hikes. It's less busy than the big name attractions, and the views stretch from the valley floor all the way out to the ocean. For snorkeling, skip the big group tours and try Honolua Bay. The bay is favored by locals for its clear water and healthy coral. Many visitors highlight the chance for seeing sea turtles, many types of fish, and just a handful of other people around, especially early in the morning. All right, next we're going to skip over to Kauai. Now I get it, as I'm going through this list of tourist traps, some of you may have had great experiences at some of these spots, and I know I have at a few of them. But the main thing is that overwhelmingly, if these spots are skipped, you're not missing much. And there's plenty of other great options and great local spots that are alternative to some of these high traffic tourist spots. I just want to pop in here and say if you found any value in listening to Hawaii's Best is to simply follow the podcast on the app you're using right now. If you're on Apple Podcasts, just tap that little follow button in the top right corner. It's that easy, and doing so helps more people like you who love Hawaii find the show. And now back to the episode. For Kauai, the Fern Grotto and the Kiluhana Plantation are two of Kauai's most advertised stops, but many visitors find them underwhelming. Fern Grotto is accessible only by riverboat tour, and many reviews note that the site has lost much of its lushness due to storm damage. Visitors often mention the experience feels rushed and crowded, with comments like, just wasn't as impressive as expected, and the tour felt commercialized. Kiluhana Plantation is promoted as a historic estate with a train ride and shops. The grounds are great, they're beautiful, but the shopping can be generic and experiences feel more like a tour stop than actually an immersion into Kauai's culture. So if you're looking for something a bit more meaningful, Kauai has plenty to offer. Waimea Canyon, often called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, delivers dramatic views and hiking trails. Another is Limahuli Garden and Preserve on Kauai's North Shore. This botanical garden is dedicated to native plant conservation and traditional Hawaiian agriculture. If you want more adventure, the Nepali coast stands out as one of the most unique and incredible spots in all of Hawaii. But the best way to see it is by boat or air. Hiking the Kalalau Trail can be really tough to see those views. So if you really see the Nepali coast, I definitely would recommend either a helicopter tour or a boat tour. All right, now over to the Big Island of Hawaii. The first one up on our list to consider skipping would be Ali'i Drive. This is the strip that is in Kailua Kona. It's a popular strip aligned with souvenir shops, bars, chain restaurants. It could be good for a quick stroll. If you want something a bit more unique and true to Hawaii's history, the Big Island offers many sacred sites and historical parks to visit and enjoy, even on the west side of the island. Another tour spot on the Big Island would be Hawaii Volcano National Park. Now, kind of say that with an asterisk next to it because this park can be amazing. It's an incredible national park, but it also could be extremely crowded, hot, and honestly, a letdown if the lava isn't flowing. It's kind of a catch-22. If there's no lava flowing, you might feel like you missed out. If there is lava flowing, it's probably going to be really crowded. It's worth doing once, but just be aware if you are staying on Kona side, it is a full day activity. You know, driving across islands about 2.5 hours. And then once you're at the park, to really enjoy it is going to take a couple hours. And then you got to drive back over to Kona. So it's an all-day thing. One of the best tips that you can do if you are wanting to do the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park is to definitely check the conditions on their website prior to visiting. This will just help prepare you of what to expect. Their Instagram page is actually really helpful, and they do up-to-date tips and up-to-date conditions. So always just when you're on island and you're thinking about visiting, just be aware of what's going on at the park, because it changes quite a bit. So when choosing to do alternatives to some of these tourist traps to avoid, it's important to ask yourself, why does local choices matter? I know we've talked about it before. You probably heard it before, support local. The reality is travelers to Hawaii spend billions of dollars every year, but where that money goes can really make a big difference. According to the Hawaii Tourism Authority, local businesses recirculate nearly 3 times more money in the community compared to national chains. That means every dollar spent at a family-run restaurant, like my friends over at B-Side Kitchen, or on a small farm helps support local jobs, cultural preservation, and even environmental efforts. You might be wondering, does it really matter where you eat or shop while you're there in Hawaii? And the answer is yes, it does really matter. When you choose a community-run luau, you're not just getting a more authentic cultural experience, you're probably getting better food too. You're helping local performers and artisans keep their traditions alive. And when you buy fruit from a farmer's market or art from a local craft fair, you're putting money directly back into the hands of Hawaii residents and not just big corporations. So the impact is clear. Supporting local businesses and experiences helps keep Hawaii unique and vibrant and support its local economy. And a challenge for all of us on our next trip, whenever you're visiting, whenever I'm visiting next, is to pick at least just one new local experience that's off the usual tourist path. So whether it's a hike through a native garden, a botanical garden, a meal from a food truck, or a ticket to a small town festival, these choices really do add up. They make your trip better and they matter to the community you're visiting. So there's more to Hawaii than the headlines, the tourist brochures. The choices you make, what to see, where to eat, who you support, really shape the kind of trip you have and the kind of impact you leave behind. Mahalo for joining me on this episode of Hawaii's Best. And until next time, as always, live with aloha. Mahalo for listening to this episode of Hawaii's Best. To stay up to date on future episodes, hit follow on your podcast app. Hawaii's Best is a production of Shorebreak Media Group with editing by Easy Podcast Solutions and music courtesy of our friends Stick Figure.